All right, y'all. Welcome back. Welcome back to your favorite WMMA podcast, hashtag CB99 Talks. This is episode 114. And of course, I'm Combo Breaker 99. Back again, guys. What's going on? Back with another episode here. Just so y'all know in the chat, this is not live, but it is pre recorded like usual. So, y'all can hang around in the chat and talk it up. And you can agree and disagree with me all you want while I'm speaking, and I'll come back and look at it later. All right. But yeah, man, we back with another one, guys. A few different things I want to talk about in this episode. Of course, going all the way back to last Wednesday to Invicta FC 51. Man, that's crazy, man. It's already Tuesday, and I'm coming back to talk about Invicta. Invicta feels like it was just over the weekend, man. That's what I'm saying. Like days be flying by. Days be flying by, man. But anyways, my plan was to come back on and talk about it, like on this episode anyway. Like I do like a week, just like a week WMMA wrap up sometimes, fights on a Friday. We talk about it on a Monday, right? So yeah, I want to definitely get into Invicta FC and kind of just go through the fights and talk a little bit about each one. Not really like break them down because y'all watched it with me. Y'all saw me break down the fights and I gave y'all my thoughts then. But just in case y'all missed the card, we can talk about it here. So yeah, going back to Wednesday, we're gonna discuss these fights, of course. Then we're gonna talk about this past Saturday's fights, WMMA fights on UFC 283 a little bit. Let's talk about Jalsian Nunes. What's next for her and Zara? Lauren Murphy. Lauren Murphy been taking to Twitter. She had a few things to say, and that's really one of the topics of this episode too. Is when enough is enough, and when the trainer really needs to step in. I talked about this in boxing before, one of my boxing shows, but yeah, I want to talk about it with y'all because it seems like people don't understand, and fighters don't understand that there has to be a point. There has to be a point when a trainer says enough is enough, right? Now, I'm not pointing fingers in this particular situation this time because I mean, y'all do you, you do you, but I'm just saying from my opinion, that's something I want to go over in this episode. All right. And also, Sarge, I just want to hit y'all with some news on Sarge. Y'all know the deal with her and Irene Aldana. Apparently, Irene Aldana saying the fight's not made. So, we're going to discuss that a little bit and see what's going on there. Jessica Andrade, talk about her a little bit, So, yeah, man, make sure you hit the like button and make sure you subscribe, if you enjoy talking some WMMA with me, man. Yeah, so going back to last Wednesday, shout out to everybody that tuned into the fight companion with me. Had a lot of people all the way in there till after midnight. I was about ready to get off. I ain't gonna lie, man. Invicta FC, they need to move them cards up to 7 p.m. Eastern time now, man. I ain't joking. 9 p.m. and you got 7 to 8 fights. On top of that, look, I ain't bashing fighters here, but on top of that, the fights are going the distance, man. Every single fight went the distance. Like I said, I'm not knocking it. I love a knockout in a submission. All right, I love a knockout in submission, but I'll take a decision if it's a good, entertaining fight. And for the most part, all of these fights were entertaining. But I would have loved to finish somewhere in between, just to cut back on the time that I was on. I'm like, dang, man, we was going into like 1 o'clock talking about and watching these fights. So I was like, man, come on, somebody get knocked out, somebody get submitted, right? But I was expecting a few finishes, but nah, man, we didn't get any finishes. And that's a question I got for y'all. Like, is that like I'll talk about it towards the end of this breakdown, but is that like a turnoff for y'all? Like, if a WMA card has no finishes, like, do you take away from it? Is it a downfall for the promotion of the sport? Think about that. Think about that. So yeah, man. Had 7 fights on this card, 2 title fights. Of course, that was what was going to make it long. We had 10 rounds between the co-main event and the main event. Overall, I enjoyed the card. We had some up and comers that I like, some tough veterans on this card. A couple good, solid contenders and good champion as well. Yeah, I enjoyed the card overall. It was fun. There was never really like a boring moment on this one. I think all the ladies did put it online, but like I said, there was just never really any full on power displayed in this fight, in any of these fights. And that's just something we got to deal with sometimes. I don't think this is the first time we had all decisions on a Invicta card, but if it wants more fans, fighters going to have to show up and start stopping people, right? This is just a heads up for the ladies, that want to bring in the casual fans. I mean, I'm always going to tune in. Like I said, I'm always going to tune in as long as it's a good fight. All right, so yeah, man, to kick it off, we had Fatima Klein. Fatima Klein got a decision win over Laura Gallardo in a very entertaining fight. It was a good way to kick it off. I'm not gonna lie, I thought Klein was gonna go in there and get a finish at some point, but Gallardo, she showed up. And when I remembered, I was like, Gallardo got some skills. She got some well-rounded skills. She got hands. She's a solid striker in that southpaw stance, and she's gritty. But Fatima Klein, solid grappler, really good with her wrestling, physically strong for this division, throwing her hands back. I mean, Gallardo was probably sharper with the hands, but that didn't stop Fatima Klein from throwing. That didn't stop her from playing the shots of her own. And first round, I gave the Gallardo. I don't know why the judges didn't see that. She was landing some sharp, crisp shots on Fatima Klein. Fatima Klein put a lot of pressure on her, of course, but she was getting tagged a lot in that first round. But second, third, she settled in, and she was just really out wrestling Gallardo, just really putting that strength on her and taking her down and picking her up, physical strength, man. Like, she was picking her up off the ground and slamming her, and putting those long winged shots on Gallardo's chin. So I think it was a clear winner in this fight, but I thought they just kind of robbed her that round, and when we get that open scoring sometimes and you see that, it kind of discourages you a little bit, because then you're like, this should have been tied up by round 2, but now I'm behind, right? So, yeah, I had Fatima Klein winning. Just thought she won that first round. Gallardo won that first round. I think Fatima Klein is showing really good skills of a well-rounded fighter at 3-0. She knows her ground game is solid, but, she's really working on her hands. And I think what we're seeing from her at this early stage in her career, we can definitely see her start to really, really turn it up. And I believe she'll probably get a title shot maybe by the end of the year or maybe next year. They just want to, move her slowly. But yeah, I definitely see title shot in her future. Next fight we had was Rayanne dos Santos versus Katie Saul, who got a decision. Rayanne dos Santos got a decision win over Katie Saul. I was picking Katie Saul in this one, but she just let Rayanne Amanda dos Santos, I call her Rayanne. Rayanne just really settled into a groove and started picking her shots on Katie Saul. Like, Katie Saul was really having trouble using her reach in this fight. Rayanne was really touching her with these single shots, touching the leg, being first, and even putting her on the ground. I mean, Katie had some moments where I thought she was gonna get that arm bar, but every time Rayanne would just slip out of it and go back to ground and pound or standing back up and just outlanding her. So yeah, I think Rayanne Amanda just was too tough in this one, too fast, and just always one step ahead of Katie Saul. Katie Saul was on like a 2-fight win streak. Definitely been improving as a fighter. Just needs to start to let go and use that reach a little bit more. That's why I never really say like these tall, long fighters have an advantage until they actually know how to use it, right? So yeah, man, good fight. That was another good one. Unanimous decision win for Rayanne dos Santos. The next fight on the card was, let's see, is that her right there? Oh no, that's the okay, here we go. Another atomweight fight was Alessandra Fierria versus Mesa Valencia. All right. Now, I've seen Fierria fight before. She's fought for PAWFC. I think she was fighting for Palace Athena's title. And she got done dirty in that fight. I remember like the fight went to like a technical decision because her opponent was, getting off some dirty moves throughout the fight. I mean, eye pokes, I think a knee to the head while she was down, just multiple like dirty tactics. And it winds up going to the card, and the other girl winds up winning the championship. So, Fierria, I wanted to see more from her, and she's bouncing back here in Invicta. Got a split decision win over Valencia. I thought Fierria was a clear winner, but she was not sticking to the game plan that was working. Now, right off top, Valencia came straight in, putting the pressure on, pressure boxing. But Fierria was boxing nicely off the back foot, landing hard shots, cracking Valencia. But Valencia, what did she do? clinched up because she didn't want that power, right? That was smart on her, but it should have been on Fieria to take this fight to the ground or get that dirty boxing in, grab that neck, start landing them elbows and little uppercuts on the inside, get your opponent to get up off you, right? So Fieria won this fight, but to me, she was lacking that next level. She was lacking that next level. She was landing and tagging Valencia, but she didn't know how to break free. Like, she didn't know how to handle the clinch very well. She did not know how to handle that clinch and get this type of fighter off of her, right? Valencia, when she tasted that power, she never quit, but she would just try to tie up and try to, panic wrestle a little bit. And Fieria, would just kind of use these little tactics on the inside of trying to hold and, buy some time and land a few shots on the inside, but she wasn't aggressive enough. But to me, she clearly won the fight. They had it as a split decision, but I gave it to Fieria. Claire Guthrie versus Autumn Norton. Bantamweight fight. Good fight. Very good fight. Shout out to Claire Guthrie. She's growing as a fighter. After that tough house, she's really, really been on like a hunger path of just getting better as a fighter. And I'm not gonna lie, bantamweight looks like it could be her weight. She looks strong. She's well rounded. She actually was outstriking Autumn Norton. I was picking Autumn Norton to win by stand up. And Autumn Norton, she's got that power and slickness, but she was just a couple clicks behind, man. She was just, I was going to say one step behind, but she was a few steps behind Claire Guthrie in this fight. She continued to fight behind Claire Guthrie. Claire Guthrie is using lateral movement, using her range, boom, boom, letting off some leg kicks, letting off some shots straight up the middle. Autumn Norton got in a few shots. He drew some blood on Claire Guthrie, but Claire Guthrie started shooting in for takedowns. I mean, coming straight in and just taking Autumn Norton down, taking her straight down. And Autumn was able to bounce back up. I like her athleticism she has, but when she get back to her feet, she needed to be first. You got to be first in there with them hands, because Claire Guthrie, she's going to be looking for takedowns. And I saw a couple of moments where Autumn didn't freeze up, but there were moments where she just was waiting, like she was trying to set a trap. So Claire Guthrie said, "Oh, you're going to wait?" Dove right in and took her down. Just simple as that. Textbook takedowns, So Claire Guthrie definitely won this fight. Autumn Norton, definitely she can come back from this one. She's still good on the feet. Just has to be able to counter wrestle at times, work on the takedown defense, and be first. That's a big part of, some of the things that I need to see some of these girls do is just be first, be first with your shots. Many trainers say that even in boxing, Teddy, they be first, right? Be first. Fifth fight. Another bantamweight fight here. Let's go ahead and pull that up there. All right. Olga Rubin versus Serena De Jesus. Serena De Jesus missed weight by a couple pounds, I believe. Olga Rubin came in on point. She was ready to go. Showed in her performance. She got a unanimous decision over Serena De Jesus. Good banger, man. Good fight. Olga Rubin, she was tagging Serena De Jesus in this fight. I mean, Serena, she's one of them dogs, man. She likes to come in there, prove her toughness. She'll take shots, then say, "I want more, I want more." So you give her more. Olga Rubin did smart on that. When a fighter asks for more, you give her more. You don't win by showing how tough your chin is, right? So Olga Rubin was constantly planting that left hand on the chin of Serena. Serena was in this fight. She would throw combinations, but after about the first shot or second shot, third and fourth would usually kind of graze on the arms of Olga Rubin. Olga Rubin was much more sharper in the pocket, landed good 1-2s, hurt Serena a couple of times in this fight. Thought she was going to get her out of there. I think it was like the second round. Had that leg doing that dance. I was like, Olga's on a warpath here. She's landing big shots. Definitely a stronger, smarter fighter in this one. Serena, she's tough. She's tough, but definitely has to show that level of IQ in a fight. Got to be a little bit more patient. Don't look to just storm forward and walk into this fire like that. You get burnt that way. So yeah, Olga Rubin clearly won this fight. Good shots like this you see in this picture landed. Very, very sharp left hands from Olga Rubin. Yeah, I felt like she won every single round in this one. Okay, so going to the co-main event. Christina Rose, man. Christina Rose versus Christina Williams. Sorry. I don't know why I was thinking of Rose. Why was I thinking of Rose? I think she kind of looks like Rose or something before. Is it just like kind of embedded in my mind? Anyways, Christina Williams versus Ketlin Souza. I know some of y'all picked Ketlin Souza to win this one. I thought Christina Williams was going to win it. You know, she was working pretty hard to get to this point. But Ketlin Souza, unanimous decision. I think she clearly won the fight after the first round. Wait a minute. Did I give Christina Williams the first 2 rounds and then give Ketlin Souza the last 3 or 4? Regardless, I think Christina Williams, her best round was the first round. You know, she was showing a well-rounded game. You know, she was striking, you know, landing good shots, the clinch. She was showing the strength in there, you know, doing a little bit of everything. But after the first round, she let Ketlin get into that in and out groove, you know, just kind of picking her apart, using the speed, using these spin kicks, you know, touching the chin, touching the body, landing in good little singles, actually having success on the ground on Christina Williams. Christina Williams just kind of got slower, I believe, after that cut she suffered. But the thing is, like, her cut men, they did a good job on this cut. You know, it wasn't like it was pouring in her eye. You know, they stopped it after, I think it was round 2. After like round 2, they stopped the bleeding. And I thought she could see clearly, but it was something about that cut, you know, kind of had her just fighting at a slower pace. She was just doing a lot of waiting. You know, she couldn't cut the octagon off. She was just letting this faster, smaller fighter get off on her. And, you know, I think that called for her to be that blanket. You know, you had to put pressure on, cut the ring off, cut the octagon off, start landing power shots and get her in that tie clinch. You know, Christina Williams, she's big, long. I wanted to see her get that tie clinch, just start landing knees to the body, but she just let those rounds fall, and Ketlin Souza just continued to kind of pick her apart and even have success with takedowns, you know, getting her down to the ground. So, yeah, Ketlin Souza, shout out to the new flyweight Invicta FC champion. All right. And the main event. Oh, man, the main event. All right. Toledo Bernardo versus Tanisha Tennant, man. Oh, man. Shout out to Tanisha. Much respect. You know, she's a good, solid fighter, man. But I think her level was shown Wednesday night against Toledo Bernardo. On top of that, shout out to Toledo. Toledo definitely looked better than she did in her last 2 fights, which she won. But this fight here, she was prepared for. So I got to give props to Toledo Bernardo to the fullest, because she looked halfway decent in her last few fights, even though she won, but she knew she was going into a championship fight, and she made the right improvements, even in her stand-up game. So I have to give her credit there. Tanisha, on the other hand, man, I think she was just a little bit too tentative in this fight, a little too timid as well. Didn't fully sit down on her punches when I believe that the game plan should have just been fully knock this girl out, land with power and authority, or keep the jab in her face and pick her apart. I know everybody gonna say, oh, it's easier to say it from the outside, but no, man, like, we've seen how Toledo Bernardo can be prone to the right hand, right? And we've seen Tanisha Tennant's striking level. So put those two things together, should have been an easy win for Tanisha Tennant. Well, I won't say easy, but there should have been a lot of opportunities for her to find the knockout or find a way to just slice up Toledo Bernardo in this fight. But no, Toledo came in, landed beautiful leg kicks, actually, you know, getting reaction out of Tanisha with her leg kicks, and just taking this fight straight to the ground. I mean, there was a scare in the first round. She got the back of Tanisha, almost got a rear naked choke, but shout out to Tanisha. She had good ground defense, you know, good survival skills on the ground, which kind of reminded me of Marina Rodriguez. You know, it's a lot of survival skills. It's not enough, because you got to be more defensive so you can get more reversals and actually win rounds, right? So she was surviving a lot throughout these rounds of being taken down and being submitted. Well, you know, she was being taken down, but she was surviving a lot of the submission attempts, but she's still losing these rounds, you know. I think, you know, she had a few moments where she was getting in some good shots on Toledo, where Toledo was on her back, but that was where Tanisha should have stepped back and let the fight go back to stand up. But she was in a couple of moments where she could have got submitted via heel hook, you know, or foot lock. So just little things like that, in rounds like 2 and 3. I wanted to see Tanisha get the fight back to the get it back to the feet. All right. And she did buzz Talita Bernardo a couple times in this fight, and I was like, here we go, get her out. But Talita said, nope, going back to the ground. So yeah, it was a good fight. I might actually go back and watch the fight, do a little breakdown, and we'll talk a little bit more about it, because this is like I was saying, man, this fight was basically striker versus grappler. It was lion versus crocodile. You know, the lion being Tanisha in this one, keep the fight on the plains. You know, bring that crocodile out. Only attack the crocodile when it's in your realm. You know, when the crocodile steps into the water, you got to take a step back. And I mean, this picture kind of describes it right here. You know, Tanisha, let her out. You know, let her out. You know, you step here, she's going to get you to the ground. She's going to pull you in the water. You might drown, right? I mean, Talita, she's an expert here on the ground. You know, everybody knows that. Now, on the feet, not so sharp, but she did do enough to polish up her skills. So I give her credit there. But yeah, man, I had Talita Bernardo winning every round. I think it was competitive, but I gave every round to Talita. I'm just being real, because I want to see Tanisha do better. I ain't gonna be one to just, you know, lie, make excuses. I think that Tanisha needs to be a little bit more aggressive and a little bit more confident in her style, and needed to be the dominant fighter. Make this girl fight your fight. You know, get her out of there. Get this girl out of there. Like Arujo did, like Katarina tried to, but she just didn't have the follow-up. You know, drop her, put her on the seat of her pants, finish her, let her stand back up, land them punches. You know, Tanisha's got that style. You know, she's got it. But as far as getting to the UFC right now, I think this was a blessing, because you can learn from this and say, hey, this is what I need to work on from here, right? Yeah, shout out to Talita Bernardo, new bantamweight 135-pound champion. She wanted it. She announced it back in January, and she got it, right? Tanisha just got to go back to the drawing board and work, and I think really work on her takedown defense, work on her wrestling, you know, because I think that's going to be a big part of handling some of these grapplers, using that wrestling to be able to kind of ragdoll these girls off and even like get them in positions that they're not ready for, right? So, yeah, UFC is still a little off, because these physical fighters, these fighters that come in to kill, the fighters that even unranked, they could be dangerous. You know, even like a Myra Buena Silva could be dangerous at this point. You know, Carol Rosa could be dangerous. Norma Dumont, if she ever makes 135, could be dangerous, right? So, yeah, that's just what it is, man. I hope she'll bounce back. You know, definitely. You know, I believe if she wanted a rematch, she's entitled to it, because, you know, she's undefeated leading up to this fight in Invicta FC, right? Technically, to me, she's really undefeated. Tanisha did it is. I mean, Danielle Wolf didn't win that fight, right? So, I mean, if she wants a rematch, hey, give it to her, right? I definitely wouldn't deny her that. So, yeah, overall, it was a good card. Good card. Like I said, every fight was a decision. So that's the question for y'all. How'd y'all like the fights? And do you think every single fight going the distance will be a turnoff for more fans trying to get into WMMA? That's the question. What do y'all think about that? I think it might, because, you know, most guys, they want to see finishes. They want to see knockouts, you know, especially when you're getting into the 1 o'clock realm, you know, the after midnight realm. They'd be like, yo, give me a knockout now. I'm tired, you know? So, like I said, I got the time. I'll stay up and watch them, but your casual fans, they're going to see more. They're going to want to see, less is more, right? They'll want to see less time in the ring means more. You know, you don't get paid for overtime either. So, yeah. Yeah, good card, guys. Let me know what y'all think. Let's move on. All right. So what did y'all think about this fight, man? Josiane. I believe that's how y'all pronounce it now, right? From here on, after this episode, I got to say Josiane, right? I've been saying Josiane, but I guess the announcer say it's Josiane. That's how it's been communicated. Josiane Nunes. Okay. Zara Fairn. I think Josiane Nunes needs to be a bantamweight. You know, I keep it short and simple on this one. I think Josiane definitely needs to be a bantamweight moving forward, man. She definitely showed some grit and ability to stay consistent. You know, she never stops trying. But the bigger the girls are, the bigger and better skilled these girls are at 145, you know, she's not going to be able to even have this type of success, right? Zara Fairn's been out for about 2 years. She's big and long and had one good round. She probably could have finished Josiane in this fight, but she didn't. But the more the girls get a little bit more on that killer instinct tip, you're gonna have trouble, right? And I believe if she faces these type of tough girls at 135, she'll have more of a chance because there'll be girls at 135 that are going to come after her. But I believe at 135 she'll be about the right size, and she has the reach and the power to handle these fighters. But I mean, really, you could see the size difference in this fight. This looked like Bea Malecki versus what was her name, Veronica Macedo again. That they're just that odd, awkward mismatch. But in this fight, Josie Ann actually won. So that kind of tells you what level Zara's on now, right? Zara Fairn, this huge featherweight, couldn't even get this tiny featherweight out of there, or even like box her up and dominate her for 3 rounds, right? She couldn't even 30-27 her, right? So that says something about her level. So I think this was just kind of like a wake-up call for Josie and Nunes to say, okay, 135 might not be for me. Let me go to a full division where it's a little bit more competitive and the weight isn't too extreme, and neither is the size difference, right? I mean, the next time the size difference might look crazy is if she fights Ketlin Vieira or something like that, right? Ketlin or Yana Kunitskaya. But even then, with the way their chins are, I think she could land on them and actually, get the fight to go her way. All right. As for Zara, hang on one second. All right. As for Zara, though, man, she's 0-3 in UFC, but I believe she might get another chance, or she should get another chance because she was out for 2 years before that. And I'm being nice, I think that she deserves one more chance because she got to pay her bills too, just like anybody else. She's a fighter, and I think that after that little long layoff, you know she wants to try at least one more time. She said, okay, I came back, didn't get this one, looked decent for a round or two, but and that's just being nice. I mean, if the UFC does cut her, I can understand why. That's 3 in a row. That's how it usually is, right? And she hasn't shown that urgency and that dog and killer instinct to make us say, really, right? The real talk. I mean, she hasn't shown us that urgency to make us say she could win the next one, right? Like Ariane Lipsky, she could go on like a 2 or 3 fight losing streak, but she still has something about her that could pull her through. Like she has a puncher's chance, and she has improved in her last couple fights, right? So there's always that. Oh, even Angela Hill, Angela Hill, like she could go on like a 2, 3 fight win streak, but she's not getting dominated. She's not getting finished. And if she does lose like 2 in a row, you can bet she'll bounce back because she will learn. She will learn from her mistakes. That's how Angela Hill is. So fighters like that, you can still keep around. But if Zara does get cut, I wouldn't be surprised. I just think, hey, give her another chance. I don't know who against, but we'll see how that works out. Josie Ann, though, grit, pulled her through this fight. Those big left hands never stopped trying. Definitely got to go down to 135, though. I think that's where you'll see like a much more dangerous bantamweight and a much more dangerous Josie Ann at bantamweight. All right. Moving on. All right. Okay. Yeah, I ain't gonna lie, BJ. Shout out to BJ. I kind of had y'all hypnotized a little bit about Lauren Murphy because I started looking at Lauren Murphy's size, and first off, man, this was a crazy fight. Lauren Murphy and Jessica Andrade. It was a crazy, 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 crazy beating from Jessica Andrade, man. And never pick against Jessica Andrade unless you're talking champions. Never pick against Jessica Andrade for real. Lauren Murphy, I kind of thought she might have a chance. Never did I ever say I was fully going to pick her though. I might have played with y'all's minds a little bit because I can do that, but that's on y'all. That's on y'all if y'all pick her though. That's on y'all if y'all pick her. Like I said, what I say is what I say on my channel. It's how I'm feeling at the moment. I prefer that you just stick to your guns and disagree with me. If that's how y'all like it, just go ahead and say, "Oh, nah, you wrong." Don't even say that. Forget it. I ain't changing my pick. If that's how y'all feel, stay there. But And don't let me hypnotize you just because I'm thinking that Lauren might have a chance. I mean, I'm looking at her size. She's been around and she hasn't been finished by anybody except the champion, right? And she's a big, strong flyweight, right? But then I started to take the age into factor and just what Andrade can do, and I said, okay, wait a minute. Lauren has zero defense. She likes to trade. She will take punches. Jessica Andrade likes to throw punches. And that's how I came up with my MMA math answer. Then I said, I'm not picking Lauren Murphy. I said she has a chance again. People always get having a chance mixed up with, oh, I'm picking that fight. No, I just thought she might have a chance. I was wrong on that. But Andrade, she came through and won this fight. I mean, she did what she does. She did what she does, man. She goes in there and beats you down. The thing I was most impressed about Andrade's beating was it was very tactical this time around. Very tactical, very patient. She wasn't doing a lot of home run swinging in here. And that's probably why she survived this fight. Had somebody mention that in the comment section. They asked me, would the old Andrade probably knocked her out? Probably. Like the old Andrade probably would have like broken a rib, with a body shot, put her out, or probably knocked her out with the right hand. But I think in order to throw the volume she was throwing, she had to kind of compromise the power a little bit. To throw heavy shots, you commit more. They're slower, right? But Andrade's hand speed was a little bit faster here. So you could see that the power was there, but it was more of an accumulation power, meaning that, she took her foot off the gas a little bit to throw faster, right? She was meeting her somewhere in the middle, throwing good combinations. So she was focused more on punch placement and throwing better punches, which I was proud of Andrade, proud of her here, because she was throwing more combinations here and making sure they were pretty placement punches. That's why she wasn't full on like landing like the home run shots. But she still has the one hitter quitter, but she wasn't loading up on it. So that's the dangerous Andrade that we saw Saturday night. The leg kick was like a baseball bat to the knee. It was hitting in front of the knee, behind the knee. Lauren Murphy just could not set her feet to land anything. Body language was like a fighter that was trying to avoid the beating after the first and second round. Third round looked like a fighter that was done, really, and that's why leading into this, this part of the topic, that's why a lot of people were arguing that the fight could have been stopped. I understand where Lauren's coming from. Look, if Lauren Murphy hears this, I understand where you're coming from, but you got to see it the way the people are from the outside. Like, people don't come to see somebody just get, well, they'll watch a fight if you're getting mauled and beaten to a pulp. But after a while, people will say, stop it. If you're not putting up a great fight or you're not making it competitive, even your hardcore bloodthirsty fan will say, man, I can't watch this anymore. The stomachs will turn. I remember before Roy Jones, he was ringside after his fight watching the James Toney versus Iran Barkley fight. And he said the same thing. He was like, when James Toney was, just pummeling Iran Barkley after so many rounds, it got to the point where you kind of like, ugh, it turned your stomach. You can't watch anymore. So they stopped the fight after, I think, like the 7th or 8th round, So I understand where he's coming from, and that's coming from a boxer. That's coming from somebody that sees blood all the time and knocks people out. So for the average fan to complain about it or to say the fight should have been stopped, I see where they're coming from in this situation. Lauren Murphy, if you're listening, Lauren, it has nothing to do with, it has nothing to do with questioning your heart at that point. We're talking about your life. Is fighting really your life? Is it really all your life at this point when you're 39? I'm 39. There's certain things that I'm letting go now. You know what I mean? I'm 39 too. And I'm like, yo, there's certain things that, hey, I'm not going to die for anymore. And I think there should come a point like that for every fighter. Like, fighting is not worth dying for when you get to a certain age, because it for sure it ain't your life. You know what I mean? There's better things out there, especially if you have kids, Lauren. If you have kids, that's where people are coming from. They don't want to see you die in there. You got to kind of kill that attitude. And same with the trainers in this point, I would have stopped the fight. Some people disagree, but as somebody that's closer to it than just the casual fans, I probably would have stopped the fight after the second round. You know what I mean? Like, I'd be like, yo, I'm looking in your eyes. I'm looking at your body language. You don't look like you in this. And we talking about Andrade here. We can't take punches like this from Jessica all night. You know what I mean? It's one thing if it's like a softer touch that was just kind of opening some cuts. We'll take it to the end. But if you're taking this type of beating all around, I don't know if I could let my fighter go on like that, because you were offering nothing. You won no rounds. You know what I mean? Andrade was spotless. So that's just how I feel. That's how I feel personally. Like, I don't want to see anybody die in there. You know what I mean? Like, the fighter always says, "Oh, I wouldn't go out on my shield," but that's the whole purpose of a trainer. You know, that's the whole purpose of a trainer. The trainer is the person. The trainer is the person in your corner, not to only give you pointers and let you know what you're doing right and what you're doing wrong, but they're that balance for whenever you're too high up in kill mode, that they have to call the shots and say, "Nope, can't do it." Of course, as a fighter, you're going to want to go on, but the purpose of a cornerman, a good cornerman to me, is to say, "You've had enough." You know, they're the ones that tell you you had enough, and they got to throw in that towel. You can come back another day. It has nothing to do with your heart, right? It's not like you quit if the trainer throws in the towel, or if you retire. It's not like you quit. I mean, there comes a point where if you have nothing to offer, you just got to stop, right? That's how I see it. But real quick, read this. Yeah, we can read this tweet right here, because this is what Lauren Murphy posted up after, I guess, hearing a lot of people talking about it even online. But she said this on Twitter: "Where were these people when Joanna looked like effing Megamind in her fight with Whaley? If they're concerned for safety, why weren't they screaming for her to be pulled? Competitive or not, shouldn't her safety have come first? Miss me with this double standard BS." Okay. So in that fight, yeah, okay, Joanna's head was on swole, and you probably could have stopped it. Like, if they did, I probably would have been like, "Oh man, this fight was getting good." But at the same time, if you seen how her head was a balloon, they could have stopped it. I'm not gonna lie, they could have stopped it. Was I screaming for them to stop it that night? No, I wasn't screaming for it, but every punch that Joanna was taking kind of made me cringe. The way she was touching her head, I was touching my head the same way. All right. But the thing about it is, even through that head, Joanna's expression was, "I'm ready to keep, I'm ready to go, I'm ready to go, I'm ready to go." And the fight was back and forth and competitive. People feel like Joanna won that fight. They feel like she was 100% still in that fight. Okay. Looking in her eyes, looking at her movement, she was still landing on Whaley. She was still doing damage on Whaley. She was still in that fight. So if you were to stop that championship fight at some point in rounds 4 or like round 3, I think that would have hurt Joanna in some way. I mean, after you go through all of that punishment, to think about that, okay, you have to look at it this way: the punishment she took was worth it at the time, right? It would have been even more so worth it if she had won the belt. That's how she would have probably felt. Like, I took all of this for nothing. If you stopped it, right? She'd be like, "Oh man, you stopped the fight. Look, I got this big hematoma for nothing. I could have won this fight," right? Or if she was ahead, or even if let's say if she was ahead, fully, no controversy whatsoever, and they stopped the fight because of the hematoma, she probably would have had an emotional breakdown, because she'd be like, y'all just robbed me. Y'all took something away from me. I was in it. My head was in it, even though my head wasn't in it, right? That's kind of what it was like. Her head was in it, even though her head wasn't in it. But yeah, she was still game. She was still game. But when you look at Lauren Murphy, people argue that could have been stopped because she wasn't offering nothing. There was no puncher's chance. You never rattled Andrade. You never took her down. You just looked done. You just looked done in this fight. You didn't win a single round. So yeah, whenever people say Joanna made it competitive, she did. She did. She was just in it. Again, like I said, if the doctor saw Joanna's head and they stopped it, for me, I probably would have been like, "Okay, I understand why," but that's for me. Then going into put myself in Joanna's shoes, I would have been like, "Oh man, like, they took this away from me and I was being competitive," So looking at it in different ways, you'll see how different people feel about it. But to me, I can see why Joanna went all the way through and people just saw that as a competitive fight, because it was, you know. Look at body language. I know, like I said, you got to look at eyes and body language. I think that's what the ref was looking at throughout that fight. That's why nobody really said anything, right? So that's what it is, man, in my opinion. Just two different situations. Even with Juliana Pena, she got busted up in her fight, but she was still in it. She was still in it, and she was still doing some damage to Nunes. And through the blood, you could still see the fight in her eyes. I never thought Juliana Pena was going to quit. Again, if the blood was too much and the doctor said, that's it, that's his call. And I'd have been like, okay, I can't argue that. As a fan, I'd say, that's a lot of gore in there, right? So he knows what he's doing. He's saving the fighter. If he feels like it's time to get him out of there, then fine. So I mean, there's just so many different ways to look at it. But to me, like, in me, I'm definitely not bashing anybody in the corner at this point, because this was what Lauren Murphy wanted. She wanted to go out like this. But I do think that the corner, they do have an important job to say that's enough. That's what they're there for. Not only to guide you and let you know what to do in a fight, but they're the guy that's supposed to say, hey, we need to, chill out. Just like when you go out at night, if you know that you a hothead and you got a partner that's more so laid back, he needs to be that one to tell you, hey, you need to take a step back. Hey, let's go out and chill for a little while. Stop trying to pick fights in the club. Let's just chill. No need to do that. It's not worth it, right? So, yeah, I mean, let me know what y'all think. From here, like I said, I'm kind of on the fence if Lauren Murphy wants to retire at 39. I mean, there's nothing wrong with saying she should at this point. As somebody who's watched this sport over 30 years now, going on, over 30 years, you know when it's about time. You know when it's about time now. You know the signs. So I'm kind of on the fence with that. If she does, it would be smart. You don't want to become a punching bag for these other fighters. Yeah, you could probably be a gatekeeper for these other fighters. And I would say, yeah, okay, one more go round against like a Casey O'Neill. If Casey O'Neill wins her fight, that would be a good fight for her. I would have thought the Manon fight would have been good for Lauren, since she talked about her. You know what I mean? Even if she had lost, but that was if she didn't lose in this fashion, right? But since she lost in this fashion, I definitely don't want to see her fight Manon. I think Manon would probably finish her if they fought now, right? So yeah, man, that's what it is. That's just what it is, man. This happens in the game, and I know we don't want to deny these fighters their chance, but and yeah, of course, Lauren hasn't suffered a beating like this too many times, but she's taking damage though. She's taking damage a lot in her career. She's taking some damage. She's got a lot of scar tissue. So, at 39 years old, and yeah, you have a husband and kids, might be time to call it quits, because there's probably pains that you're not talking about that you have, like Roxy was more so vocal about. She was having those headaches and things. So maybe one more go round. But other than that, if retirement is what she chose, hey, it's probably for the best. We got more flyweights coming up anyway, and we don't want to see anybody die in the cage. I know I don't. But yeah, man, fight game is crazy like that. And there's never like a 100% answer. There's always a safe answer. There's always the right thing to do, I believe, where you can say, let's just go ahead and end it now and avoid any type of serious damage done, like to family and anything like that. Like, avoiding death is what we want. Avoiding death at all costs. That's the number one thing we want. Hey, if we hurt your feelings by stopping the fight, I don't care about it. So if Lauren Murphy hears that, that's how I see it. Like, if I was a cornerman, I would have stopped it. I don't care about your feelings in a fight. The whole thing is to save your life, okay? Because you can move on from a fight. You got other things to live for. You can fight another day. You can do whatever. You're still able to do whatever. But if you want to really go out and possibly pass out or go into a coma, that's on you. But I believe the ultimate thing is to avoid death. Avoid you dying in there. That's one thing that the cornerman needs to do, right? All right. As for Jessica Andrade moving forward, I'm gonna do who's next for Jessica Andrade. Yeah, I think I'm gonna record one for her. Andrade. This improved Andrade. Definitely got to take my hat off to her, because that's what we've been wanting. And I think she knows, because she probably watches like a lot of people's videos online and probably has somebody translate it, because I remember she said that people people talked about that she had no technique. I remember her saying that. She was like, I'm ready to show what I can do, because she's like, people been saying I have no technique. So she probably heard it around the way. And we've been saying that. I said that. I said that too. I meant to say that. So she would get better. You know what I mean? Like Andrade purely comes in there Hulk style before. She would come in there and just lose it sometimes, but she fought a very technical fight this time, good balance. So yeah, she got that. She got that part right. So from here, I don't know, man. Like 115 should be the ultimate goal, but she's gonna have to get in line behind Lemos. I'm gonna say that again, because Lemos deserves her title shot. So from here, move down and maybe fight Rose a third time. That would be good. But I'll save it. I'll save it for the who's next. I think we all know what she needs to do from here is just move back down to strawweight, because that's where I believe I believe a title shot is in her cards there, and possibly easier to, I won't say easier, but it's more so winning a title at 115 is more so realistic. Let's put it that way. This version is not beating Valentina, because Valentina is not going to be there to be hit. Okay. All right. Two different fighters. She's not going to be hit like that. So that's not happening. Okay. And last topic here I wanted to talk about with y'all is the whole the whole Irene Aldana as Amanda Nunes' next opponent. I know a few of y'all already told me about this. Of course, one of my followers, Sink, shout out to Sink, he had sent me a message, and Nina Azarov had replied and said, not to him in particular, but she was replying to somebody else, and she said that Amanda is not fighting Aldana. Okay. And I think we all knew that. That's why even in my last video I said in the works, right? It's in the works, meaning that it was being talked about. And Irene Aldana took to Twitter and she said that I feel ready for Amanda, but I can confirm that I don't have any fight done. Still, I don't. But still, I know that there are big chances I could get the offer soon. All right. So she just said it right there. It's not done. There's no fight done yet, but she feels like she could get the offer soon. And I think that's what the UFC is looking at. I mean, it's kind of been a mixed bag here, because I've been seeing some professional MMA media websites posting up that official looking poster with like 3 title fights on there and 2 other fights, right? We got John Jones, Cyril Gane, then we got Nunes versus Aldana, then we got Shevchenko versus Grasso, and the 2 other fights. I can't remember names right now, but yeah, they've been putting that card up, and that poster looks official, right? So people been using that. So I think that's why a lot of people get mixed up. Like, is this fight on or not? But according to Aldana, it's still not. All right. Now, I personally think that they should just go ahead and make this one. I don't know if they're like battling with Pena right now, because, she's been out there, she's been vocal, and she's been talking about she wants this fight. So I don't know if they're just kind of like battling with Pena, trying to decide who should get it. But I think Pena's been doing some other things. She's been doing the commentary, and, she's been sitting behind the desk a little bit. Why not let Aldana get some shine in between, right? But go ahead and let her get the fight. Give the Pena somewhere down the line this year, but, go ahead and let Aldana get some action. I mean, she's on her little win streak. Let Aldana go ahead and get it. I mean, I feel like that's fair. Just not saying Pena should never get the title shot, but that would give Pena a chance to, work on some things and take a little break and prepare for Amanda Nunes and just re-up your game. You know what I mean? I know Pena likes to fight, but there comes a time where you have to kind of reinvent yourself a little bit too. Like, after watching that last fight, it just made me say that she had nothing to offer when Amanda wanted to step up her game. So Pena's got to step up her game to something new. She's got to do something new as well. She can't be as awkward on the feet anymore. You can't just depend on one type of striking level either. You got to switch your game up. So I wouldn't mind if Aldana stepped in front of her. I know Pena's number 1, but Aldana can step in front because they already done this two times. And if with the last fight looked the way it did, Aldana, let her step in, because Pena just adds some more levels to your game. And Make it count. Make it count, because this is the third time now. Y'all are split, so it seemed like you'd want to take your time with the third one and say, "Yo, let's do something big now. We got to prepare 100% for Amanda, because this is the trilogy. We're gonna end it here, right? We got to make this a banger. We got to go out with a bang, making sure we get it, right? So let Irene get it in the meantime. I think, Irene will give Amanda a different look. Will she win? I'm still favoring Nunes in this one, but you never know. The boxing can give her trouble. Irene and Grasso, they've been working hard at the gym, and Lobo. They've been putting it together, man. So we never know what can happen. But yeah, that's the news right there. Irene said it herself that, hey, it's still being talked about. She feels like the offer could come soon. And I think with the fans' help, maybe she'll get it. Maybe she will get it. All right. So yeah, man. That's pretty much all I got this episode, guys. Been on for a little shorter than usual. But maybe I'll do an after show. Maybe I'll do an after show. A live right after this one. How would y'all like that? After the podcast, just go ahead and do a after show when this goes off. Come back on another live, and we'll do a little Q&A and talk together, because I'm chilling today. It's a day off. I'm good. And yeah. That sounds like a plan. Maybe we'll see. If I don't get on after, then I ain't doing it. But yeah, guys, my final thoughts: Invicta FC 51. It was a good card. Check it out. It's on YouTube for free. And I want to see Tanisha bounce back. Add some more levels to her game. Get where she needs to be. Lauren Murphy, I think she shouldn't be so pissed off at the fans or people thinking that she should have been stopped. They're just kind of looking out for the fighter here. We'd rather see you stopped than, laid out or really damaged. You know what I mean? And that's kind of where I'm at with it. Andrade, we'll see what's next for her. Aldana, hopefully she gets this shot from here, guys. So yeah, we'll talk more about it like we do. Make sure y'all subscribe to the channel. Shout out to the new subscribers. Let's go for 3,000 now, y'all. We already at where we at now? Over 2,000 now. So yeah, let's push it to 3,000 now. I think that's going to be a good promotion, good help for WMMA fighters, and just the sport in general. So yeah, let's keep it going. 3,000 is the goal. Subscribe here, these other platforms as well. If you're on the road, just turn this show on. If you listen to podcasts on the road, like on Spotify or whatever, pull this show up, y'all. Yeah, support it. Support it. Support it. Support it. If you feel like the women don't get support, hey, I'm trying to support it. So you guys support me. All right. But I'm out, guys. We'll talk more. Combo Breaker 99. Subscribe. Peace.